Good afternoon to you and welcome to the news at 1 p.m. on NTA Channel 5 Abuja, the Unity Station. I am Nolin Ebel Ame. Let's begin the news with security. There is a new trend and pattern of ATM and internet-based financial crime. It is called dispense error, and the wave is spreading fast amongst youth in the FCT. Security correspondent Onotu Yakubu brings us the arrest and parade of some suspects by the Utako Police Division.
These are ATM cards from unsuspecting members of the public or those people that they have deceived because they go about scouting for ATMs with the promise of returns. So what they do, once they get the ATM cards, they log into the app, they call it dispense error, and the bank will pay them back the money they have paid into the account before.
Commercial, microfinance banks, and their unsuspecting customers are at the mercy of perpetrators of these heinous crimes. The police say the tactics originated in parts of the southeast and south-south, but has found its way into the FCT, spreading fast. DPO Utako Division, Chief Superintendent of Police Victor Obede Godfrey, explains their pattern of operation further.
They can equally take some people's ATM who made some withdrawal many years ago or many months ago. They can equally work on it and take back their money. So that's what they do. This is the new trend after we have busted out of ATM swap.
The suspects are between ages 18 and 26. Majority of them students and others artisans.
We give you card, you go and withdraw for them and bring back the card and the cash for them.
Have you ever cared to ask why they send you to withdraw instead of going themselves?
No, sir.
I met a guy that was doing this thing. My only work was that I will go and withdraw for him, he will pay me. Because if he go there like 2 to 3 times, the bank will suspect that something is going on. So he need boys that will send to the place to go and withdraw for him. And I need money because I'm in 100 level in Krutech. So I said, let me start this work. Maybe I'll get something at the end of the day. I'll go back to school.
This is the first time I'm making a withdrawal from
the withdrawal, was it your own genuine withdrawal or from somebody else's?
From mine. From mine and my friend ATM.
The command's public relations officer, DSP Josephine Ade, said the command has deployed tactical and manpower strategies to tacitly deal with the new trend of economic crimes in parts of the territory, advising residents to be wary of unassuming persons requesting their assistance for account details and ATMs to receive monies to carry out emergency transactions. Onotu Yakubu, NTA News.
Still on police operation, in continuation of the Commissioner of Police night patrol to restore the confidence of FCT residents in territory security, the operation has arrested 2 suspected criminals in parts of the central area. Again, Onotu Yakubu, who has been following the operation, brings us an update.
The import of the patrol is targeted at strengthening visibility policing, assuring the public of their safety, and as well encourage them to give the needed support through credible intelligence volunteering. This time, districts such as Garki, Durumi, Wuye, and Apo felt the impact of the special patrol. Divisional Police Officer Durumi, Chief Superintendent of Police Tino Dangana led the team.
You can see that as we crisscross all the various divisions, you can see people excited and actually waving. That means they're actually happy with what we are doing and assuring that their safety is guaranteed.
The patrol raided black spots and criminal hideouts in Karumajiji and Apo Cemetery, where these 2 were arrested with weapons and suspected drugs.
Part of policing, as you patrol, you actually come across any person you suspect, it doesn't stop you from actually picking them for questioning. It's a way of actually policing and a way of actually combating crime in society. Those people who were arrested are those who we strongly suspect have some questions to answer. That's what we have picked up. And as we go back to our various divisions, there will be questions, and we find nothing against them to be released.
The police are sure that the patrol will be sustained until sanity is restored to identified flashpoints in the territory. Onoto Yakubu, NTA News.
From security to religious news now, the Justice, Development and Peace Commission, Catholic Archdiocese of Abuja, has called on media practitioners in Nigeria to see themselves as a critical segment of the country. The call was made at the opening of 3-day training on effective reportage on the menace of trafficking in persons. Hadiza Godwin-Ebune has more.
The Justice, Development and Peace Commission, Catholic Archdiocese of Abuja, in partnership with the Palladium sites, the advocacy against trafficking in persons, has to assume a position where victims are comfortable to break the silence of the crime. Hence, all hands must be on deck to expose the evil act through effective reportage on countering trafficking in persons.
The media has a major role to play because we're everywhere and you see things going on. Like I was saying, we shouldn't throw our hands up in the air and say, what can we do? When you have the power of the pen to change the situation.
We're looking at the NAPTIP law, in which we want a situation it is effectively implemented to take care of issues of human trafficking.
Journalists at the training say the silence and conspiracy surrounding the crime appear to have been broken, but the evil itself has remained unabated.
We should go all out to look for deep into issues, human interest issues. That is what the people want to hear at this time. And when you talk about evil, you talk about evil to correct ills, to make corrections. You don't talk about evil to tear somebody down. And that is what we have been doing in this country.
Many people are being trafficked out of ignorance, some of them out of greed, and so many other reasons. But we as journalists, it is our duty to bring all these issues to the limelight.
The training is aimed at curbing the crime, which will go a long way in yielding fruitful outcome for upholding the dignity of humanity in the country and the world at large. Hadiza Godwin-Ebune, NTA News.
And talking safety now, as countries continue to live through a global health crisis faced with ongoing occupational safety health risk at workplaces, public and private institutions must move towards building a strong safety and healthy culture at all levels. This came to the fore as Nigeria joins in commemorating the 2022 World Day for Safety and Health at Workplace. Deborah Gazajimaika reports.
I'm a principal marketing officer. In the course of doing this work, we encounter a lot of risk. As a marketer, your job is to generate revenue, and it is going so many places.
Work hazard and increase in accident fatality informs the annual commemoration every April 28 in 2012. The National Assembly passed into law a bill termed Labor Safety, Health and Welfare Act, which seeks to establish the National Council for Occupational Safety and Health. It is aimed at enforcing and implementing occupational safety health measures at workplaces. How are employers complying with the act to keep their workplaces free of serious hazard is a question demanding an answer. Safety expert Emmanuel Walaka, while evaluating the working environment in Nigeria, says occupational safety and health can only be built on inclusion with disaster risk reduction mechanisms in check.
So there is need for action to make sure that total prevention of and promotion of positive safety culture is being practiced in some of these industries. You are talking about construction, oil and gas. Even in construction, you see people still practicing in the wrong way and causing a whole lot of fall from ladders, from scaffolding, and so because of wrong process and wrong procedures that have been put in place by the employers because they don't have the knowledge. So institutions like Occupational Safety and Health Association OSHA have also come up to act with these industries.
Since the day was founded in 1919, the subject of occupational safety and health has been at the heart of the International Labour Organization, including its standard-setting activities. Deborah Gazajimaika, NTA News.
And to speak further on safety and health in workplace, I'm now being joined by the Acting Director, FCT Fire Service Engineer, Sani Saidu. You're welcome to the news.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Thank you.
All right. Now, can you brief us on the World Day for Safety and Health?
You see, the World Day for Safety and Health, these combine two issues. One, we talk about the safetyness of the workers at workplaces, and the other one, we talk about the healthy condition of the workers. You see, when we are coming to workplace safety, whatever you do or whatever you are doing, make sure that you have enough knowledge on what you are doing. Sometimes you see in our workplaces, the right peg is not put on the right places, because sometimes for political reasons. But you see, when now you have an adequate person that is well trained to handle that section professionally, put him there. Then you will see that the safetyness is there. And on manpower development should be inculcated into their daily activities for safety reasons that I'm talking. Okay. So when we invite all this in the right person, in the right places, then you see we will achieve a lot. For instance, you see in offices, let me just bring in offices. When you are leaving your office, ensure that all the electrical gadgets, they are put off and removed from the main switch on the wall. Put them off. Even the AC, put them off. Don't think that because light is off, then
so that goes to say the consciousness and the sensitivity of this, you know, is all encompassing. All hands must be on deck, not for your employers alone. Even the employees have a role to play here.
Yeah. Why I say that you must acquire enough knowledge. You know, just of recent, we heard about this refinery.
The explosion
of refinery in Imo State.
Imo State, yes.
This might have been caused by carelessness.
But in the case of Imo State, it was an illegal refinery.
Yeah, it is illegal. I think you understand. But if it is illegal and you handle it well, gradually it will become a legal one. Okay. When you handle it is illegal at the beginning, but if you now employ a well-trained personnel to handle this refinery, it is to the benefit of the nation. Do you understand? Instead of importing from abroad, at least we have started somewhere. Gradually, when government have discovered that this is illegal, but it is well managed and handled, government can look at it and then now temper justice with mercy and make it legal. Then you see it will now increase the social economic of the nation. But you see, when not people are not well trained to handle, you operate again in fear, then you see anything can happen. Okay, and the smoke coming out from this inferno affect the ozone layers, and it also the carbon monoxide within the smoke also react with the moisture within the content within the atmosphere. Then now gradually it forms what we can call acid rain and then global warming. Then this acid rain also is the one that gradually causes cancer on the skin. So many cancers. Now I'm just trying to introduce you into the health.
It's part of it, yes, it's the health aspect of it.
Fine.
And then talking about safety, how do we move forward when it comes to safety in our workplaces? What do you suggest should be done by the employers and the employee to moving forward now?
They should close the rank. Close the rank. So that you have one spirit to move forward. Try as much as possible to show that you, the employer, you are with your employees. Whatever they needed for the safetiness of the environment, so that let the work move in a very healthy manner, give it to them.
Okay.
That is by now giving them more training, more manpower development.
And conscientizing them as
well. Fine.
Okay.
So when they achieve all these things, now they will now be able now to put everything in the rightful order. But you see, one thing is with our employers. They employ, they forget about giving them the gradual manpower development that is needed by their employees.
I'm sure this one will be taken care of or taken note by those concerned.
That is it.
Yeah, time might not permit us to continue with the conversation. We may likely invite you some other time to continue this conversation. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I've been speaking with Engineer Sani Saidu. He's the Acting Director, FCT Fire Service. And moving on with the news, the Federal Capital Territory Administration has disclosed that malaria accounts for 70% of outpatient visits and 40% of admissions, with 389,957 cases reported so far at 8 facilities. Secretary for Health and Human Services Secretariat, Dr. Abubakar Tafida, disclosed this at the commemoration of the 2022 World Malaria Day. Onoze Yakubu tells us more.
According to available records, Nigerian accounts for 32% of malaria-related deaths, as the disease is responsible for 60% of admissions, 11% of maternal mortality, 25% of infant mortality, and 30% of under-5 mortality. Secretary for Health and Human Services Secretariat, Dr. Abubakar Tafida, disclosed that the situation in the FCT is also alarming, as stagnant waters, which characterize the ever-enlarging slums across the FCT, serve as the breeding ground for the Anopheles mosquitoes, whose bites cause malaria. He further reveals that the administration has evolved measures towards reducing the menace of the disease in the FCT.
We have been providing free medications, free testing, mostly in our primary healthcare centers across the FCT. We've also distributed over 160,000 long-lasting treated insecticide nets across the FCT.
The FCT administration has secured a grant which is ongoing as we speak from Islamic Development Bank through the Federal Ministry of Finance, which we call Impact Project for Malaria Elimination.
In a paper presentation, Dr. Olushola Orosanya of the Malaria Consortium noted that for malaria disease to be eradicated in the country, all hands must be on deck.
In 2020, about 228 million cases of malaria were recorded globally, and over 600,000 deaths were reported. And the unfortunate side of that is that of all those deaths, 95% of them happened in the WHO African region.
We like to encourage ourselves to double effort, make sure that this malaria elimination happens in our lifetime, number one, and even happen as fast as possible.
Harness innovation to reduce malaria disease burden and save lives is the theme for the 2022 World Malaria Day. Onoze Yakubu, NTA News.
In other news, the National Orientation Agency has urged Nigerians to patronize made-in-Nigeria goods and services for the economic growth and development of the country. FCT Director NOA Comfort Ogunmola met the call during a press briefing in Abuja. Framapai has more.
The National Orientation Agency is consistent with the policy of the federal government to promote patronage of local content as contained in Executive Order 3. It is in furtherance of this that the FCT office of the National Orientation Agency is inspiring the mantra, "Change begins with me."
As we have been doing, we'll continue to propagate and promote the spirit of dignity of labor, honesty and commitment to qualitative production, promoting the consumption of homemade and homegrown commodities and services.
Consciousness of everyone to stimulate a redirection of resources into indigenous products, industry and services. People are encouraged to patronize made in Nigeria goods.
NOAA, by this program, wishes to encourage Nigerians to prioritize the diversification of our economy by focusing on our local production sector to generate more manpower and increase our revenue.
Research has shown that the economy of any nation grows rapidly when locally made goods and services are promoted through patronage by citizens and its exports. In Abuja, from Apanyi, NTA News.
The FCT Minister Mohammed Musa Bello has urged core members to take NYSC skill acquisition and entrepreneurship development training during their service year seriously and excel in their chosen skills so as to become employers of labor. The minister, who was represented by the chairman FCT Governing Board, stated this during the passing out parade in Abuja. Rosemary Motilem Bilal tells us more.
While commending the roles played by core members in nation building, the minister especially thanked them for their exemplary patriotism during the just concluded area council elections, reminding them that the passing out is again a new dawn.
I wish to commend your efforts in executing various community development projects during the period of the service year. Projects such as construction of public toilets, renovation of rural schools and health centers dot the landscape of rural communities in FCT.
NYSC FCT coordinator Suleiman Abdul expressed satisfaction over the conduct of core members who distinguished themselves in selfless service through the enabling environment provided by the FCTA.
Today signals another page in the story of the success of the NYSC in grooming virile, intelligent, and diligent young graduates in the society as powerful development influencers.
Core members promised to make the nation proud through hard work.
Such a wonderful experience. I'm very, very happy, I must say. I'm very, very happy.
My next plan is to go back to my business, my makeup business.
I have a lot of businesses I was doing before I was mobilized to Abuja.
Delighted that I was one of the nominees for the award for my personal project.
An appeal was also made to the general public to join the clarion call for the establishment of the NYSC Trust Fund, which has passed second reading at the National Assembly. In Abuja, Rosemary Bilal, NTA News.
Muslims have been enjoined to feed the poor during the holy month of Ramadan because of the huge reward involved. Imam of the Al-Habibiyya Islamic Society, Fuad Adeyemi, gave the encouragement when the group hosted the NTA to an iftar gathering in Abuja. Again, Rosemary Bilal reports.
The event, which held at Al-Habibiyya Grand Mosque, Guzape, attracted the presence of NTA top management, Christian clerics, and other Nigerians who came to observe the breaking of fast to demonstrate oneness and love.
Al-Habibiyya and NTA started on a relationship that was not documented but is very strong in about 19 years ago. And we now look at this, that the support we have gotten from NTA is beyond our imagination.
The Nigerian Television Authority has a mandate to promote unity in diversity through cementing ties that bind, says Director of Programs Lawal Ahmed, who represented DG NTA.
Al-Habibiyya is now flashing the light to show everyone that religion should be used to unite, not to divide. And I would wish that all religious organizations would look at this as an example and follow it to the latter, because that is what the two religions are preaching. So we thank organizations like Al-Bibia for reminding Nigerians that, look, we have for once used to be together and we cannot continue to do things differently.
Archbishop of the African Church Province of Abuja, Most Reverend Peter Ogumuyiwa, extolled the virtues of religious tolerance exemplified by the Al-Bibia.
With what has happened today, what Al-Bibia has demonstrated today, this is another way of telling Nigerians, especially in this era of election where we are, we should not allow religion to divide us. So I think NTA is demonstrating that Nigeria is really one. And anything that will divide Nigeria, NTA is not part of it.
Interfaith harmony has been a cardinal objective promoted by the Al-Bibia Islamic Society, especially in the holy month of Ramadan, as prayers were offered for national peace. In Abuja, Rosemary Bilal, NTA News.
On sports news, the Commonwealth Federation Games has introduced a new program called GIP, that is, Gather, Adjust, Prepare and Sustain to support the development of inclusive sports and removing barriers to participation. Details with Wayne Dogo.
As part of preparations for the Birmingham 2022 Commonwealth Games, the Commonwealth Games Federation has developed a program called GAPS, Gather, Adjust, Prepare and Sustain for the Birmingham 2022. GAPS is for emerging athletes and coaches from the Commonwealth. It aims to support the development of inclusive sport pathways, removing barriers to participation for people with disability and for women and girls to become actively involved in sports. The goals of GAPS is to offer emerging athletes and coaches from Commonwealth access to additional skills, knowledge and resources. As part of the sponsorship, Commonwealth Games Federation will provide all the necessary logistical materials such as flights, tickets, visas, accommodation, feeding and allowances to participate in the events scheduled to take place in South Africa, Dubai and Birmingham. Also on soccer, the Nigerian Football Federation has directed football associations in the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory to take charge of registration of teams that will compete in this year's ATO Federation Cup competition. In a circular, the Federation...
Well, that concludes the news at 1 p.m. See you at 7 p.m. Stay safe and be vigilant.